What would it do for you and your family to make 6 figures in the next 12 months? How would that make you feel? But some remain vulnerable.
So what do they learn in the training?
There is a solution. Self-reliance is a core value of being an American. Once you learn how to make 6 figures listing luxury homes, your world changes. No boss, your own schedule. It's empowering.
12 sessions, 6 figures, 12 months. What would it do for you in your life? How would that make you feel?
Once you learn how to thrive on your own, life becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah!
Welcome back, everybody, to the training. This is Scott Farrell, founder of Thrive California, and this is week 3, Buyer Whisperer. So let's review the action list from last week, the network. We wanted you to learn and internalize the campaign 1, 2, 3 and departing dialogues, our 3 very critical foundational dialogues that you should be using on a daily basis. We wanted you to buy personal notes and envelopes and start mailing those. That would be a great start to adding that to your marketing arsenal. You should have made a list of 30 people, your top 30 people to drop by and start going to see them, even if it's for 15, 30 seconds at a time. Don't even have to go in and sit down, just say hello, maybe give them a small gift. You'll increase your bonding and the likelihood of referrals. We wanted you to continue your refinements to your CRM. That's an ongoing basis. And hopefully you've started to give some thought to dressing for success or taking some great creative ideas and improve your wardrobe, if need be, that is. So to become a buyer whisperer, we want you to develop unique rapport with your buyers to actually educate them and empower them to do most of the field work and actually buy a house. So it's an interesting way to approach managing multiple buyers at the same time versus just driving them around, showing them house after house. We think you'll find this strategy enlightening and will make your life a lot easier, that's for sure. So leading buyers to buy is a deal-making skill. And today we're going to review what a bad buyer is, the pros and cons of working with buyers, some insights, the screening protocol, some terrific dialogues of how to build that relationship and engage the buyer in the process. We'll show you a couple things that'll help you, including the feedback form and some follow-up dialogues. So what is a real buyer? A real buyer is somebody that actually buys real estate in the immediate future. A real buyer is not a wishful thinker or tire kicker, somebody without the cash or loan or the ability to finance a transaction, which means they have to have a job or some stability or be financially independent or have great credit. So a lot of people are friendly with folks that think they want to buy something and they spend a lot of time. And you'll find out in the protocol section of the training here today, there is a step-by-step process before you start investing a lot of time to help you filter out or screen real buyers from people that are just wishful thinkers. So these are some comments that I've heard many times from particularly new agents that really don't have a system involved or set up regarding managing buyers. And I want to explain what a bad buyer is and why. Bad buyers are just time killers. They can ruin your energy, your attitude, and your momentum. And I don't want you to be hesitant when you determine that somebody is not a real buyer to be proactive and just stop working with them. Your time is way too valuable. So the downside to working with buyers is that buyers tend to think that your time is theirs, and they can be very demanding. They can disrupt your schedule until you train them and manage them the way we're going to review today. They are very hard to maintain, they're hard to control like a wild horse in some cases. There's no assurance that they will buy. Sometimes they get cold feet right at the end, and you can reduce the chances of that happening by really qualifying them. As you will recall in the network, we talked about how important it is to view your business as a referral network. Your goal is to build a referral network. And there's some data that backs that up. 92% of buyers look online. It's so easy to search homes on a variety of websites, as everyone knows. And then even though they do that, 87% of them get a referral to a real estate agent from somebody they already know. So even though they might even identify the particular house they want, oftentimes then they'll find representation through their referral network. So that just reinforces how important it is for you to continue to build top of mind consciousness in your prospecting. So let's look at some of the upsides of working with buyers. It is typically the fastest way to a commission check, sometimes within 3 weeks of that first showing. Buyers can fuel the use of the buyer letter, which is a lead generation tool we'll talk about for getting listings. We'll talk about that in a future training. It's pretty easy to get referrals from buyers to other buyers. Unrepresented buyers may buy your own listings. So the more listings you have, the better quality of flow of buyer leads you're going to have that are unrepresented. Those are the best buyers. So there's a wrong way and a right way to work with buyers. If you follow, that's your mindset. They're in control and they lead. But if you lead, you're in control. You lead, they follow you. So what sounds like a better way to do it? So when you follow the buyer's lead, you essentially act as though they're chauffeur. And we don't want you to do that. You can be reactive to incoming calls. They control the process, and it quickly can make your life miserable and your business disorganized. But when you lead, you screen the buyers first. You educate the buyer about the process of elimination. What we mean by that is eliminating neighborhoods first and then styles of homes. So it's a filtering process. And you lead the buyer by building great rapport. You set the expectations. This is another way, once you're in charge and are acting with authority, you can have a higher probability of getting referrals. So one becomes a buyer whisperer through the use of rapport management and leadership skills, and you make the buyer a partner in the process. Once that perfect home is discovered, you call them to action. Sometimes they need you to get them off the fence, and that's what leaders can do. So here's some very important buyer insights. Buyer whisperers use skillful dialogue and probe the buyers thoroughly about what they're looking for. They don't assume what the buyer likes. They don't dictate taste to the buyer. You may like modern homes. They may like traditional. And don't criticize a property before they react to it. So you basically need to start understanding your buyers and gauging their tastes before you start expressing your personal opinions on real estate, architecture, style, and design. So this is really critical. Then you pre-qualify them for a loan on the phone with lenders, and then you meet with the buyer. Buyer screening protocol is the single most important lesson of this training. You qualify buyers, screen them, filter them on the phone first. Then you pre-qualify them for a loan, starting with that initial phone conversation and concluding their financial ability to buy a home using phone work between the buyer and a lender. And then you meet with the buyer in person. Notice what's missing from this protocol: showing homes. So it isn't until they complete these first 3 steps that you should be showing homes, because that's very time consuming. You get to the showing process after the first 3 steps are complete. When you meet, if a buyer won't meet with you for coffee to start working on that relationship, they're not a real buyer. They're not a real client for you. So here's some insights as to how to structure the initial phone call with buyers, whether they're referred to you, they're an internet buyer lead, etc. You want to first find out when they want to move. And notice the word is move, not buy. Those are 2 different things. Most buyers do not understand the time frames in our business, but they do understand that they want to be in their house by December 1st or by August 15th because school's about to start. They understand the physicality of moving. That's how they're thinking. So that's the language you want to use. You want to find out right in that first phone call if they're pre-qualified for a loan. If so, great. Who, what, where? Get the information. You want to find out in general terms what they're looking for: house, condo, price, price range, etc. As much detail as you can get in that initial phone call, and it should be conversational in nature. And then obviously you want to know if they've been working with an agent or not, and don't be afraid to ask them that. That's what professionals do. And if this is a really great buyer, you want to compete for their business. But what you don't want to do is start showing them 4 homes and find out you're their second agent of choice. That's a rookie move. So you want to nail this down right away. You want to determine the loan or the loan range before you start driving them around. What new agents tend to do is they'll start showing people houses they have no ability to buy. You want to avoid that. There's an old acronym that is CITO, which stands for come into the office. But nowadays it's more like a coffee shop. Buyers don't want to come into real estate offices anymore. So you meet them at Starbucks or whatever your coffee place is of choice. And you want to do this prior to showing them homes. Now you could bring color photographs of listings to the meeting so they can start giving you feedback on their interests, etc. But if they won't meet you ahead of time in front of the schedule to showing them homes, they're not a real buyer. Now, there's nothing wrong with having that meeting at Starbucks and then going to show them homes because by that time you should have completed steps 1, 2, and 3 in the protocol. So this could happen on the same day. But don't start showing them homes until the loan process is done and you've got this bonding that occurs, or at least that's your objective to occur in the meeting. So here is the buyer relationship dialogue. Why do we call it the relationship dialogue? Because you want to set the framework for the relationship with the buyer, which is you're dedicated to them because you build your business on referrals. Therefore, you're looking for referrals from them as well, so you can continue to give them VIP treatment and spend a tremendous amount of time with them. So you want to set the stage right away, looking for referrals from every buyer that you represent. You want to start building the geometric progression of your referral network right from the get-go. So here are some benefits for the buyer helping you build your referral network. Again, you don't have to use these dialogues word for word. You can start to put your own wording in here, and the way to do that is to identify the key words that will trigger the thought in your conversations. In other words, clarifying the benefits, going the extra mile, and then you could even put it in your own words. Or you can use these dialogues verbatim, your choice. So as we move deeper into the buyer relationship dialogue, we want to get to understanding what they're looking for. So the dialogue is simple. Please tell me what you're looking for, and you can prompt them. What area are you looking in? What neighborhoods? Size of home in terms of square footage? What's your price range? We want to reaffirm what the loan and their down payment would equate to a purchase price. The style of homes, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, whether they want a yard and how big, do they want a pool? Are they concerned about whether the home needs some work? In other words, the age of the home, does it need to be updated, or are you willing to update? And then ask them what else is important to them, and just listen to them and write all these notes down. You're going to tend to forget some of these things. So don't be afraid to slow them down as you write, so you put together a pretty complete file. They will appreciate your thoroughness, and what this is going to do is it's going to save you a tremendous amount of time in the field, because you'll be able to take a list of 15 potential homes based on this Q&A and maybe come up with 3 homes to show them, one of which is probably their ideal home. And that's the way to manage buyers, by the way, is you don't show them 20 homes. You do your preliminary work on the MLS, and filter the homes down to 2 or 3, maybe 4 in one day, with an eye on 1 or 2 that they should be making an offer on. So we're now going to discuss the process of engaging your buyers in the process. You're going to use these dialogues, the relationship dialogue first and then the engagement dialogue, to get them into the process of elimination. The buyer should be driving around and eliminating neighborhoods and styles of homes themselves. You don't need to be with them to do that. You're going to give them a stack of your business cards to take to open houses, and you're going to systematize daily contact. That's the secret of maintaining buyers loyal to you, as we'll discover in a few minutes here. So now we're getting into the engagement dialogue. And what this will do is educate your buyers of how the process should unfold, that being one of the process of elimination. So because you're going to see how we stay in touch with buyers daily, very quickly and efficiently through 20-second updated phone calls, that will help you maintain their loyalty, but this process will save you a tremendous amount of time in the field. So you're going to instruct the buyers to drive neighborhoods they're unfamiliar with and do a review of the neighborhoods, because what happens invariably is if you meet a buyer and we're thinking about moving to Silver Lake, Echo Park, South Pasadena, we're not really sure, we might look at Sierra Madre, wherever. I mean, that's a gigantic geographic territory. You could spend days touring them. So just suggest to them that if it's a couple, they get in the car on a Saturday morning and drive Echo Park. They can take some notes. If they see an open house, tell them go into it. Just let them know you're represented. And what's going to happen is you'll get a call Saturday afternoon and say, hey, listen, I went out with Sally. We're not interested in Echo Park. Great. That's good news for you. So you're going to start eliminating areas or neighborhoods through the process of elimination. So this is really important dialogue for you to nail down because of its time-saving benefit to you. So I suggest that you really internalize it with some keywords so you can just say it in your own language, your own words. So you may be wondering this yourself at this point. Won't I lose the buyer to another agent if I let them drive around by themselves? Buyers will tend to do it anyway, whether you drive them on one day and they go off by themselves the next. That's just what they do. And when you make that part of the process, part of the game plan, you're leading the buyer, not the other way around. The way you maintain loyalty is through your communication system that you use on a daily basis. Every morning, you call the buyer for 10 or 15, 20 seconds, letting them know what's on the market or what's not on the market. And that's the way this relationship builds. The reason agents lose buyers is they don't talk to them for a week or 10 days and they find out they're working with somebody else. We're going to avoid that with your system, your new system. So you can give your buyer a list of homes for them to do drive-bys on. And this can eliminate homes quickly. So let's say they've given you a list of 15 homes, or you've come up with a list or a combination. Recommend that they just tour them really quickly and write down the ones that they want to see. You want to keep buyer feedback forms with you and take great notes after the buyers have seen properties, so you start to really understand what they like and don't like. So here is the key dialogue concept. You want to stay connected to your buyers on a daily basis. You want to call them, do not email them. Email is too impersonal. You call your buyers daily and give them a quick update. And once this is unfolding, some buyers will say, call me every other day or call me every 3 days. When you have the deal flow at a certain point, you can have an assistant make these daily calls. But these calls create loyalty with your buyers. So let me walk you through what we call the no news dialogue. Hi, Bill. This is Scott, just touching base, and I want to let you know that I checked the market today for us, and there are no new listings that match what we're looking for. I'll check with you tomorrow for another update. Please call or email me if you need anything in the meantime. Thanks. That's it. So what's going to happen day after day after day? This buyer's going to realize, hey, this guy is on it, right? they're not going to wonder about you. That's what happens, as I mentioned, that's why agents lose buyers, is they don't have this constant communication going. Now, it sounds like this is going to be time consuming, but think about it. Let's say you're working with 5 real buyers at the same time. That's a lot, particularly for new agents without a assistant or a support structure. It only takes you, let's say, 30 seconds to make these calls for 5 buyers. Within a few minutes, you're done with your buyer calls for the day, and you're maintaining loyalty. So as you're checking the MLS every day for your real buyers, you're going to come up with some new listings. And here's the new listing dialogue. The call to action dialogue is very important. You have to become skilled at understanding what buyers want by asking them questions, having a really strong Q&A right at the beginning, and then understanding their tastes such that when that perfect house comes on the market and you show it to them, you call them to action. Here's some specific dialogue to get them into the frame of mind to write an offer. What do you think about this home? Oh, that's great. Could you see yourself living here? Then move right to a call of action. Terrific. I think we should write an offer on this home today. Buyers need to be led. And after every physical experience with your buyer, whether it's showing property, having coffee, etc., sitting down to write a contract, whatever it is, use our departing dialogue. Just a reminder about dialogues and how important the campaign, the 1, 2, 3, and departing dialogue is. Even when you're dealing with buyers, you're constantly reminding them that you're building a referral business in an elegant and conversational way. This will pay off for you big time as referrals come in from all of these contacts you're making on a daily basis. When I hear complaints from agents about how some buyers are troublesome, they sound to me most of the time like energy sucker buyers. And here's what you do with them. Drop them. Don't spend time with energy suckers. You spend time only with real buyers who are ready to buy now. If you're new to real estate, you may not know about buyer rebates. If you've been doing your business even just for a few months, you've probably heard about commission rebates. If you're a veteran, you already know about this, whether it be from Redfin or many other companies that offer buyers part of the buyer side commission as a rebate or incentive. You need to be prepared to handle that when it comes up. And I would recommend that you use the certificate stationery that you can get at the office supply store that we'll talk about in our listing training, the dominant listing agent training, and use it as a buyer rebate certificate. You can offer them to pay for their part of or all of their closing costs, or however you want to structure it. So these rebates can be structured in a variety of ways, but you need to be prepared to counter your competition offering rebates if you want to maintain this relationship with the buyer. So for week 3, Buyer Whisper, here's our action list. I want you to call all active buyers. If you don't have any active buyers, call 10 people in your database, your personal contacts, and ask for referrals to buyers. If you do create a new buyer relationship, follow that up with a personal note. You're going to be using the buyer protocol with each of these new buyer contacts. If you still have contacts in your CRM that need to be updated, you want to keep doing that. Continue your drop-by process. That's every afternoon you're going to be doing drop-bys. That's a regular part of your business right now, and after every drop-by, follow up with a personal note. The pre-list documents need to be downloaded to your computer. That's going to help you set up your training for next week, the Dominant Listing Agent training, and you'll find those in our online resource center. You've got FSBO and expired scripts in the prospecting section in the online resource center. We want you to download those and start reading them. Good luck with your action list for this week. Can't wait to see you next week for the Dominant Listing Agent training. So next week, is Dominant Listing Agent. We're going to explore the skills and attributes of a successful listing agent, the pros and cons of working with sellers, some insights, the tactical approach to getting a listing, understanding motivation, which is really, really critical. This is new information we're exploring in this 12 weeks that we didn't do in the previous Thrive University training. The pre-list strategy, risk reversal, and how it could be really effective at getting you listings, how to preview a home, some key seller dialogues, and how to list and convert expired listings to new listings for yourself, and how to list for sale by owners. A lot to cover next week. It's going to form the foundation of your campaign to become a successful listing agent. Can't wait to see you then.